I've been talking to you about my background in the addiction field, where I came from personally, how I started thinking about addiction, how I learned about addiction. I'm talking to you about the epics I went through, the demonization of heroin that took place early in the 20th century, and then the Vietnam War, and how that changed our views of addiction and heroin. And now I want to talk about the present. We have something called the Life Process Program. And I've given background so that you can see how I came to my views of addiction and how I learned what is most helpful to people that enables them to escape from addiction. The first thing about the Life Process Program is we recognize that addiction can occur with any powerful experience. Obviously, drugs, heroin, and narcotics are powerful experiences. But I wrote a book, as I described, called Love and Addiction, where people get involved in extremely negative love and sex relationships that are highly destructive to them. How does that happen? For some reason, people become committed to a relationship which fulfills a need for them that they can't escape, even as it becomes destructive to them. That's true of any kind of addiction. And many people who come to the Life Process Program will say, well, I've never taken heroin, but I am here because of my bad relationship, my love relationships, possibly gambling relationships, often my relationship with food, sometimes even their relationship with exercise. And the Life Process Program works on the model of addiction as being any powerful experience that people become committed to and overwhelmed by in a way that has a negative impact on their lives. Now, what is it about an experience like that makes it addictive? For one thing is it relieves pain and anxiety. I've talked about how painkillers have been addictive throughout the 20th century and into the present. They keep saying, well, here's a painkiller and it's not addictive. Or here's a tranquilizer. Or here's a sleeping aid. Here's a sedative. They can't be addictive. They're not heroin, or sometimes they're not an opioid. But they're addictive because they produce an experience that people overwhelmingly become involved with because something about themselves, the person, or their situations makes it so that they need to rely on that drug for pain relief. It then becomes an all-encompassing center of their lives. They become completely organized around it. They'll make sure that they never avoid it. They always get it during the day. I think of somebody who was addicted to smoking. What makes it addictive rather than just being a habit? I mean, you can say, am I addicted to my walking or running? I do it every morning. Is that it has a destructive impact on their life. It distracts attention from more important things. It detracts from their ability to function. So if you're, for example, in an addictive love relationship, your addicted lover or the relationship itself makes you less likely to accomplish things. It makes it less likely for you to deal with other people, friends, family, other kinds of professional associations. And something we're going to return to at length, it becomes your identity. When people become thoroughly addicted to something, they start saying, well, I need it to live. They'll define themselves by it. They'll say, well, don't think of me as a regular person, as a husband or a wife or a father or a child or a researcher or a worker or a helper. I am this thing. My whole life is organized around doing this thing. Remember now, a lot of things have that powerful, all-encompassing experience. We described heroin that way. We described barbiturates, sleeping drugs like Halcyon. benzodiazepine that way. Um, that's the addictive object, the addictive experience. The second part of the addiction equation is where you are in life. What kind of satisfaction you're getting in life? Are you accomplishing what you want? Do you feel good about your situation? Are you in a comfortable environment? Do you have friends? Do you have family? So the third part of that equation is who you are as a person, what you come to this situation with. Obviously, a big thing that people talk about today is trauma. Trauma is one way of saying that you've had experiences coming up or in your lifetime that have left you damaged or feeling deprived. We don't emphasize trauma to the extent that we say it's going to be permanent for you. Remember, I've talked about addiction and alcoholism as natural processes that people develop in their lives, depending what their situations are, and depending where they are as individuals. And so I'm going to talk to you about the Life Process Program as helping both to change your situation, but also to help you develop as a person.